All right.
All right, let's start. You start.
Bienvenidos, Heats.
Okay, do not start it like that. All right, welcome to the Heat is On podcast. I'm Juicy J. This is Jgnoise, and
Yeah,
we're here to talk about um the ongoings of this interesting basketball team that we have had the pleasure of supporting for many years now.
as it's good to be on here.
Good to
Um,
be on here.
yeah,
Not good to be a fan right now, but
yeah, for sure.
we find some happiness in other things in life. But
Yeah,
we're not
and
here to talk about that. We're here to talk about our team.
of course, and as every Heat fan right now, whether you're living in Miami, living a few hours from Miami, or living in goddamn China, you feel depressed. You feel like you want to jump off a building, and you feel like
Yeah.
you don't know how long this is gonna take for us to get a
So
W.
the, Yeah,
I
and before we start talking about for real stuff, I just want to give a distress signal to all Heat fans out there right now. Keep with your team. Do not jump on the bandwagon. Stay with them. It'll pass, guys. Everyone's going through this. Every Heat fan is going through the same pain that you are right now. Some more than others. It's crazy. This is not anything that anybody has ever had to experience as a Heat fan since 2008. Think about that.
Yeah.
We're witnessing history, but we're on the wrong side of it right now.
Yeah, this is, right now we're at war, not with the Celtics, not with the Nuggets, but with the Pistons. I don't know
No,
what
we're
the
at war
hell
with ourselves
I
right
don't know
now,
what the
bro.
hell I'm watching, man. It it takes a lot of energy, not even energy. It just takes
Willpower.
yeah, it takes a lot of strength to turn on Eric Reed and John Crowley knowing I'm gonna cry myself to sleep that night.
Yep.
I can't take it
Yep.
anymore. Every halftime we're down by 20 points. And it's not like we're losing, by 5 points every game. We're losing by an average of 18 points a game.
Yeah. Never even close to these
It's
to
never
these
close.
games.
I think last night's game against Phoenix was the only real one that was slightly close, and
Yeah.
that wasn't even
It
close.
didn't even it didn't even feel like it because at the end is when we actually started playing good.
Yeah.
And before we start going on like a little tangent here, I want to just like give some structure to this. I want to start off by talking about like the stretch, the 7 game losing game stretch. I just want to go through each of those games, each of those losses, and then we could get into why this is happening and why we think that we're suddenly the worst offensive team in the league.
Oh
So
yeah.
it all started in the North, in Toronto, with the Raptors when we were coming off of a 4 game win streak that we thought was going to be extended that night. But we were met with a rude awakening in that first quarter when Toronto began to blow the Heat out in a fashion we've never seen in that season, in this season prior to that. I mean, like, I remember I told you this was by far the worst loss of the season. By far. It was horrible. It
Yeah.
was really bad. I mean, we lost by like 40, then we cut it down to like a 20, but you still lose by 20.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk on that loss?
Uh I just I I feel like it all started. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like every Heat fan, with the addition of Terry Rozier, felt like something was in works for the Heat. Something good was
Yeah,
coming out. I was starting to think,
agreed.
I'm starting to think right now, Lowry wasn't the main problem. Because,
Yeah,
although, yes, I'm going to keep it real with you. And right now, it may not look like a big difference because we are losing. But Terry Rozier's addition has been huge to Miami. And I'm gonna get to
agreed.
that. I'm gonna get to that later you know, along the
Yeah,
way here. But
let's
but
finish getting through these games and then we'll get
but
into players.
yeah, currently we're talking about the Toronto game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, I think that was the day Siakam had gotten traded, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I
I
remember that.
I forgot, but I
I
remember
remember
we were on a call and I told you Siakam's out. You know what that means. And then I even told you. I remember I specifically told you. I don't know how I feel, man, because we are the type of team to lose to the Raptors without Siakam.
Yeah, I proceeded to tell you, hell no, we're blowing their ass out by 30.
Yeah,
That did not happen, obviously, but we're the Miami Heat. We're gonna do that sometimes. We thought it was a one-time thing.
obviously. And
Until
to
the next
make
game.
matters worse, I'm sorry to interrupt, but to make matters worse, we lost that game 121 to 97. The next day, the Bulls beat them.
Yeah. And,
So
that's the worst part about this. All the teams that we were losing to, they were not good teams, and they were not like picking it up like some
yeah,
other teams were. The
yeah,
Raptors were on a losing streak. They
mhm,
were bad, man. They were on like a 4 game losing streak until we came in and we just gifted them a win. But
right.
it, we thought that it would be a one-time thing. I thought that it would be a one-time thing.
And
But I
it,
feel like troubles really like started in that game against Brooklyn before that when we went to overtime. And like it felt like a win. It felt really good. Like it was a great win for the Heat. And that would be the last time that we would see the Heat in their prime offense. But I remember that game. There was like struggling in the offense. I don't remember why, but I just remember that there was something wrong, that we were down by that much and we had to come back. But I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It was a game that went to overtime, and we none of the teams broke 100. The score was 96-95, a 1 point win against a team that is horrible in overtime with a score lower than 100. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. Like, I was watching The Last Dance today, and I saw that a game against the Bulls and the Celtics in 1996, the score was 131 to 131 in overtime. Come on. You're telling me that those guys 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, are scoring more than we are in a whole game of basketball plus overtime? But that's not the point.
I just
That's just
regardless of what we're going through, there's definitely some problem. But the obvious one here is overall, I mean, we lost to Toronto, we lost to Atlanta, I believe, then the Magic,
yeah. hmm
then I believe it was Memphis, then the
Yeah.
Celtics game, which wow.
hmm
Then we had the Knicks game, and
Yeah.
finally last night's loss. Now,
Yeah. And we'll get to all
the
of these.
only
We'll run through them
I want
quicker.
to make
We'll get to all of them.
one quick point here. The only game that I was okay with losing is Boston because
100%.
they
I
are
agree.
20-1 at home. That's it. There's
Uh-huh.
no reason for us to lose to the Suns. There's no reason for us to lose to the Knicks. There's no reason for us to lose to the Memphis Grizzlies. Like Memphis Grizzlies,
So,
Orlando, the Hawks, and the Raptors are all sub 500 teams.
yeah. Those
But
were games that you should have won.
those are
And
games
I,
that we
I
should have won.
remember I've told you before, if we beat the teams that we're supposed to beat, like the Raptors, the Hawks, Memphis, we would extend that win streak to 7. Then we go to Boston, lose, and it doesn't look that bad because it's Boston. But of course that didn't happen. That's not what happened, obviously. And we can't just say like, oh, what if we won those games? They're already gone. That's already a 4 game losing streak. Now let's go to the Hawks game. Let's just brush over this one real quick.
Well, this
I
one's going to
think
be
this was
very
the
easy.
yeah. This game was really good up until the last second. I mean, I'm telling you right now, me and Jgnoise were there to witness that DeJounte Murray shot. It was the single most demoralizing thing I've ever seen in a live sports game. That was the first sports game that I went to that the team that I was rooting for lost. We went to that
Yeah.
game. You see Hero hit the three in the stretch, and it looked like I told JG Norris, I said that looked like Dwayne Wade out there with Dwayne Wade on the bench on UD night. I thought this was a win in the books. He hit the dagger. That's it. Then DeJounte Murray comes down and ruins our day. And then Caleb Martin dribbles the ball out like it was practice.
I mean,
Now,
look, I'm going to keep it real. So, and again, I'm sorry if I keep cutting in. But that game, I really, I didn't see where it went wrong. It was just a game where we would be tied and then they would be up by 10 in a minute. Um
Yeah,
and being in the arena is much different than being obviously on your TV, because in the arena you're watching the game and you're like you don't realize the score. I think I had to look up a couple times
yeah.
because I couldn't believe we were down 10 because we were in it.
I,
We were in
uh-huh.
it. There were moments where I think Tyler Hero threw a lob to Bam or Jimmy threw a lob to Bam. Then Jimmy just dunked it in the fourth, and I lost it. And I'm like, okay, we got this. The only problem is, and you know, I hate saying this, but huge props to Dejounte Murray for hitting that, because shoot, man,
Mm.
who comes down with 5 seconds left, game on the line, and you launching up from like near half court? Like nobody's doing that.
Not a team, not a team that wants to win. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously.
this is my theory for that Atlanta team. They took, and I told you this. They took that three as in, let's get this game over with. If you're a team who wants to win with that much time on the clock, you're gonna get in the paint and feed Sadiq Bey, who we've been fouling all night. That's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna try and take a wild circus three to win the game and play hero ball. I know that's not what Quinn Snyder told him to do, but continue.
Yeah, no, and I mean it worked. Whatever
Yeah.
works. Um, Now the problem is, right? You don't expect DeJounte Murray to pull up from that far, but you also don't expect
Hmm.
to give the ball to Caleb Martin in a
Yeah. At all.
situation. Um,
Yeah.
I always say this every time we watch a game and it's close. I don't know why Spo holds his timeouts till like the next day, because
Yeah.
newsflash, they don't carry on to the next game. Um, I felt like what was trying, the play that was written up was mostly for Hero, as you and I could tell, because he couldn't get free. Then they looked to Butler, the second option. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we had, I would like to say Lowry.
2 seconds. It was like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but I'd
Oh,
like
never
to
mind.
say we had Lowry, Hero, Martin, Butler, and Bam on the court. That's what I like to
I
say.
know. I know we had Bam. There's no way we had Love on in this
Yeah,
clutch.
Love isn't
And then
even
I
on
know
the
we
court.
had Hero, Butler, and uh, Martin. But I don't know if we had Lowry. That's the thing, because remember that game was the one of the first games we benched Lowry,
Right.
and
Yeah. I
I
think
remember I
that's
was like,
really,
oh, Lowry's.
you know what? I don't, again, sorry, but here's where I believe this all started. That Toronto game, that was, I mean, before that, we also almost lost to Charlotte.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's really where that started. And then, we fought it through, which was embarrassing. I mean, I don't know if you read
Yeah.
Terry Rozier's interview today when he said he was part of the Charlotte Hornets. It's in their DNA to lose. Did you see that?
No, I didn't actually.
Well, Terry Rozier got interviewed, and let me pull it up really quick. He said, uh, give me 1 second here. He said, it's the total opposite in Charlotte. You're kind of used to losing. It's in the DNA. Over here, it's the
Wow.
total opposite. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody is fine with this.
Wow. Hearing that interview gives me hope as a Heat fan. And I really like Terry Rozier for that, because and I don't like him for that, like for any specific reason, but I like him that he said that, because it gives me an idea how the players feel more. Because at this point, 7 game losing streak, Jesus Christ, do these guys even care? But they care if he's that sad after coming to a new team where it's basically heaven and hell. That's the comparison. But let's move on from Atlanta. Let's go to the Magic. Now that Magic game, I remember going into it. It was the game that I thought was going to be the comeback game. I thought we were going to go into this game and win easily. I mean, at this point, we're losing to teams I remember that we always beat, that we had winning streaks against. We lost to Atlanta, and it felt like we lost to Atlanta in home. Like that can't be right, right? So of course we're gonna beat Orlando. Apparently not. it was another blowout win for the other team, and it was in Orlando. Which I'm sorry, but Orlando and Miami, there's no difference. I mean, you're still that's like less than an hour flight. Obviously, you are basically in the Kaseya Center because nobody in Orlando is cheering there. Dead team.
I mean,
You
hey,
got
hey,
Orlando, who is
I'm going to
also a horrible team, bro.
I'm going to an Orlando game next week, man. Don't don't tell me that.
Okay, they're
No,
going to
but
the
I
Spurs,
see what you're
buddy.
saying. Usually like Miami is the best team in Florida. Miami should be the best team in the Southeast region of the NBA.
Uh
But
huh.
I mean, that Orlando game,
Yeah, and then you
like I
lose to
said,
the two teams that are in your division. That's embarrassing.
right. And then, like I said, the whole thing started in Charlotte. We played Toronto. That was horrible. And I feel like that Toronto game was really the last straw regarding the Lowry situation. And heading into the Hawks game, there was obviously an unfamiliar feeling as before the game Lowry unfollowed most of the Heat players on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
and he was benched. After the game he
Yeah,
said he would like to play more and hopefully that was the last time. It was in
yeah,
fact not the last time, and
yeah.
that's it. He's gone. So overall,
So,
what I would like to say is what's causing this team problems is the relationship because I mean one thing is to have skill, which we know Jimmy Butler does. We know Tyler and Bam do. We know Rozier does. We know we have Martin and Jaime some extra pieces, and I'll talk about them later. But you can't work if you have no chemistry. Nothing will work
mhm.
if you have no chemistry. And overall, that's where the main problem is that we're seeing Hero chalk up threes, and we're seeing Bam when he's having a bad night, like last night. He just kept chucking up floaters and airballing. I saw this man airball a wide open
Yeah,
layup. I couldn't believe it. I really could not
unacceptable.
believe it. And then Jimmy and Rozier did great. By the way, that Rozier yesterday's game, the only thing I could really take out of that was positive is that we actually got a point guard. Aside
Hmm.
from that, we need to stop running Hero as the main guard. I'd rather give that position to Terry. Let him be the ball handler. Let him call the plays out. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, you see the difference in point guards
Oh, for sure.
when you have a real point guard, one who handles the ball like a wizard out here. I mean, he might be one of the best ball handlers in the league. I mean, I've never seen, being a Heat fan, you see Butler, he has the most rudimentary handles. You look at Terry Rozier, he's doing 30 crossovers, he's doing step backs, pump fakes. I mean, it's crazy what this guy does. And moving away from the Orlando game, that's when we started to hear some more rumors. And I remember there was a 3 day break in between Orlando and Memphis that there was. And that's when we got Terry Rozier and we left Lowry. Lowry had a great Heat career. Obviously, it ended off horribly on a bad note. He was shooting horrible percentages from the field and especially from three. It was time for him to go. He definitely served his purpose, but we got a way better point guard. I mean, we upgraded incredibly, and I know it didn't really look like it in that Memphis game, but I mean, we were on what 3 game, 4 game,
Yeah, and
three game losing streak at this point.
you also have to realize it was his first game. I mean, it's an adjustment. Like he said,
Yeah,
he's used to losing on a Charlotte team, but coming to Miami and experiencing this must be hard. You know,
yeah,
um,
really hard.
real quick, this something I wanted to talk about is according to a source, Miami had a film session today with candid
Oh,
communication with everyone. It
I was
was
gonna talk about
players
that too.
were vulnerable with each other, according to Kayla Martin. I'm sorry. Things were said that needed to be said.
Yeah, I saw that too. I
I
saw here. I've got it here
Go
too.
for it.
Miami Heat had vulnerable film session with intense Eric Spoelstra. I mean, that's really what you need. Your coach screaming at you for you to fix something. I think that's what you need. At least
Also,
we'll see.
sorry. This was brought to my attention. I was watching I think it was a video. I don't know. It just popped up on my recommended, and I watched it. We all, I think, most newer Heat fans. I'm not counting myself. There was a point where I thought it was a joke, but towards the end of his last season, I took him. I give him the respect he deserved. Definitely deserved getting his jersey raised up in the rafters. Paul Pierce, you're not Kobe, man. I don't know who you think you are, but overall,
Yeah, agreed.
overall, the energy Udonis Haslam brought to the locker room, like, I guarantee you, we would not have been in this losing streak with that man yelling at them in the locker room. I guarantee
We
you.
are 100% missing him. I
I
mean,
guarantee it.
it just showed like obviously we're gonna make a run this year, and it's not gonna end like this. I hope, but obviously he made a difference. If you're seeing that, like this team would not have the regular season problems that it's having if they had a voice in the locker room like Udonis has them. And what you said about Paul Pierce, agreed. You are not Kobe, buddy. You won one championship on a stacked team
Yeah.
and did nothing else your entire career.
Overall, I don't know
He's
what he
been giving
thought.
disrespect.
Yeah, I don't know what he
Yeah,
thought he
he's
would
been
get with
giving.
that comment, but shoot, he made a meme out of
Yeah,
himself again.
He's been giving disrespect to the Heat organization and players forever now, openly saying that he's better than D Wade out here, saying that Udonis Haslam's jersey retirement was given. Okay, you obviously don't understand what he did for our team, and I don't either because I obviously did not watch him play for real, but I know that he was a big like piece to all those championship teams. And if you were a piece in our championship team, I'm sorry, but you need to be respected. Even
Yeah.
LeBron, to some point, you helped us win championship.
I mean,
And
to a very
when you,
large point, but I get what you're saying. People don't really realize how important that is, and
yeah,
that's something that I believe. For example, Goran Dragic doesn't get enough credit. Um, um,
oh yeah,
there was, I think we went to a playoff series. Like, y'all don't realize, man, Hassan Whiteside really put the Heat on his back for a while, and and I know I'm getting way out of topic, but that's just
yeah,
something that people need to realize, that
uh huh,
it's those little guys that make the difference.
uh
Because
huh,
you our playoff run last year would not have been possible without Struz's game in the play
hmm
in. Without
yeah,
that play in game, we none of it would have happened. We don't know what could have happened. Maybe the Bucks would have gone to the finals. We you
yeah.
know and same thing for Vincent and Martin in that Eastern Conference Final Game 7. Without him,
I don't I don't know what would happen.
yeah, I mean, that was something I couldn't believe. That
Yeah,
and it's something where we're gonna need this team, because I know, we all, He Nation knows that the every single player on this roster has the potential to do something great. Has the potential, and what I love about this team is that even if someone is having a bad day, you can have someone having a good game, because
hmm
you have four players on the team scoring more than 20 points a game. We have Rozier, Bam,
yeah.
Jimmy, Hero. Um, and you you know, obviously now we're in a slump badly. So the spirit and the mood, the first three games, you're like, damn, whatever, will bounce back. Then third through six, you're like, okay, what's happening? You start getting frustrated, but it's more like a down. Like, you're bringing the energy, the vibe down. Once,
hmm
last night's game was a huge wake up call, considering they had two meetings about this.
Yeah.
Now it's more like, okay, we need to wake the hell up, play basketball.
Yeah, and in my opinion, you should have had the wake up call ages ago, not when
Yeah.
you're on your seventh game in a row that you lose by almost 20 now. But it's okay, and that's how it goes. And I had a couple points that I wanted to say about people, fans specifically, not seeing the worth that some players had to their teams, and they see that and they have those problems when the team doesn't win the championship. sure, but even when they win the championship, I want to bring some interest to the Spurs booing Kawhi Leonard and just hating him. I really don't understand that because, and of course I understand it. You're gonna hate a player that was on your team and left you. Oklahoma City hates Kevin Durant, but in the end of the day, when you think about it, how many championships does your team have? Obviously, a limited number. They're not gonna win forever and win as many as you think they are. So every championship is a gift. Like, realize that every single year, one team wins the championship. It's only one. And the fact that a guy like put some effort in to make your team, that team, the world champions for 1 year, that's special. And I don't think you should be giving that guy so much crap. And I realize that now, and I do give more credit to LeBron. And I used to like hate him or whatever, but you know what? He gave us two championships. And at the end of the day, we have three championships now instead of just one with D Wade,
For
and
sure,
that's okay.
for sure. And I love that point you bring up. Um, there's something I've been noticing between the last three games. I've been writing it down and stuff, and I think now is a perfect time to bring this up. It's an embarrassment, excuse me, to say the front of your jersey to say Heat culture. That's just an embarrassment. Right now, the way we're playing, you know, this is this is the least culture team I've seen from Miami. And it's not
I,
even the
I
team. It's
agree.
not even the team. The team is. Feel like this is our deepest bench, like deepest lineup we've had, because you could go
Hmm.
to the 12th man and still have um someone like Thomas Bryan available. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's not the
I
best,
agree.
he's someone to give you size. But what I'm saying is, you go back just 2 or 3 years ago, and you really have to, whether he didn't put up many points at all, you have to appreciate the hustle PJ Tucker gave to Miami.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I saw a video the other day where it was like, if this guy was on the team, this wouldn't be happening. And it's just, he got like four offensive rebounds. He was always on the floor. Everybody could say
Hmm.
what they want about him. Obviously, in Philly, he was a different story now with the Clippers, but we just need something. Overall, this it's it's pretty clear there's something that needs to be done. And
Hmm.
I don't know if many Heat fans realize this. Rozier has yet to have a full practice with Miami.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Today
Wow,
all he
how?
did was film. Um, and alongside, all the travels and stuff, plus his arrival, which took 24 hours to get his paperwork done and everything. He has yet to have a
Okay.
full practice with the Heat.
And that's really like unlucky for him. This is the most unlucky arrival that he could have. I mean, you don't have a full practice and you come into the team at its worst, like at the worst it's been all year. I wouldn't wish that upon even Jason Tatum. You come into a team when they're on, actually I would, but you come into a team on a 4 game or 3 game losing streak. I mean, you obviously you want to be the savior, but when the team does not look like it could be saved by any one person right now, it needs to be a group effort. The whole team needs to be involved. The mindset needs to change. We just need to be in a position where we're not going to keep letting this happen. I mean, we're letting 48 minutes of basketball pass like it's 2 minutes, getting back to our homes and acting like, all right, do it the next day. But
Hmm.
we're not the Charlotte Hornets, as Terry Rozier said. We need to win basketball games.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to end it short on this first episode of The Heat is on. Sucks that we had to film it at the current Heat situation.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
definitely.
I really wish we could have started it on a Heat win, but there's things that needed to be said and
Yeah.
feelings that needed to be. feelings that needed to be heard. And I mean, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at the point of we just need we've had our wake up call. We have all our assets available. Nobody's injured. The only person on the injury report is Drew Smith. We have Jimmy Butler in the last two games with 26 points and 28 points. We have,
He is trying. That's what he's doing.
we
That's what I
have,
like to see from him.
we have an all-star caliber in Bam, but he's not playing like it. It's like
Yeah.
whenever this team runs out of players and you think they're gonna lose because they don't have their stars is when they win. We need a way to make Hero, Bam, and Jimmy work together. And now with the addition of Rozier, that's gonna be even harder. But it's something that needs to get done.
Yeah.
And if it must come down to running Hero at the sixth man again, then that is definitely something they need to look into consideration. Um,
Now, I obviously would agree that if that's what we need to do to win, that's it. But like, is Hero really gonna accept that? I don't think so. You're paying the guy 100 plus mil. Um,
I
I
mean,
don't think he's gonna accept that
sure,
at all.
if
Like,
if
just
he's
looking
getting
at Hero and the kind of guy he is, I love Hero, but I don't think he's gonna take that. And is it really like that we have to go that far to put him
I
on the
don't think we
bench? I
should.
mean,
It's just we need
he's elevated his play greatly from last year.
we need to make our
I
lineups work.
stand by that.
That's it. We need to make the
I
lineups
agree.
work. And I'm tired of running Bam at the five. I can't take it. I love him. Bam is I would just feel much more confident as a fan knowing we have Bam at the four and a taller, bigger guy at the five. I'm not
I
saying
agree.
I'm not saying Bam doesn't deserve to play center. I'm just saying it's always gonna be harder for him because you need to
Hmm.
realize he's 3 to 5 inches shorter from the average center in every team.
Yeah,
Jokic for Denver.
and
Then you
you
have
saw that last
Anthony
night
Davis in the Lakers.
against Phoenix.
And you saw it last night with Nurkic and Eubanks.
Yes, yes. You saw last night with Yusuf Nurkic, who is not a star center, but still locked up Bam like he was freaking Ben Wallace or something. He is not that good. Like Yusuf Nurkic is good, obviously he's a great player, but he's not that good that you just can't score on him. But the difference is the height. I mean, when you're Bam, I mean, your player comp is not Shaquille O'Neal. You're a softer version of a center. And I'm not saying Bam is soft or anything like that, but he's not the kind of guy to throw you around and dunk on you every play. He does that, obviously, but his like main thing is his shot, like how crafty he is. He has the team shake. He can do whatever, bro. But Bam Adebayo is not like a traditional center. He's shorter, which is weird for centers in the league now because you have everyone running around at 7 foot 1 million. But I mean I think Bam will be able to play power forward if he ever it gets to in his career. I don't know if Spo will ever do that, but if we get a good center who's tall and we won't put him on the bench, maybe, just maybe we'll take that jump. But I feel like that will be a big a decision for Spolster to make because I don't think Bam would have a problem with that. Bam, I think he would do better and play better. I don't think he would like see problems running a power forward. He would play shorter guys or guys more his height, I would say, and he would like throw people around. I mean, I think he's used to running center now though. He moves the ball around really well. He's probably the best playmaker that we have on the team right now in terms of just getting in there, looking for the pass, finding it. It's obviously not showing right now in this 7 game losing streak because the offense looks like we can't get a shot at all. But I think that he is our best playmaker on the team right now. But yeah, those are the two things that you need to find in a center that you need to make the jump and move Bam to power forward. And that would really just make this team in its final form, I think. You have point guard Terry Rozier, shooting guard Hero, small forward Jimmy, power forward Bam, and your center is a mystery. I mean, that looks like an unstoppable lineup to me. You have your front court of Bam and Jimmy. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, agreed. Well, all we could do now is wish for a win tomorrow against the Kings, and and starting February right. Let's see.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
last game of January. Let's hope we could close it out with a win, top off this horrible month of Miami Heat basketball.
mhm,
But yeah, that's our show, everybody. Heat Nation, hang in there. It's one more day till Heat basketball, and let's hope we get some good basketball out of them tomorrow.
yeah, hopefully our second episode will be with better news.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
looking to make an episode tomorrow after the game.
For
We'll
sure.
see if that gets up. But thank you, Jgnoise.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Thank you all for watching. The heat is on, and we'll be back. Go Heat.
Thank you for watching, y'all. Go Heat, baby.